As neurodivergent people, especially those of us who are I'm asking and those of us who are late diagnosed, we mask a lot, and masking leads to exhaustion because it takes a lot of energy, and masking leads to what's called burnout. And if it is done over a very long time, then it leads to chronic burnout. When we're on chronic burnout, especially when we do not know, there are certain signs and symptoms that we experience. For a lot of people, myself included, when I had my chronic burnout, a lot of people would not know that what they're experiencing is burnout because the signs are so similar to the signs of many mental health conditions. A lot of people just think of other mental health conditions and they do not think that they might actually be experiencing burnout from masking. It's very important to know that what you're experiencing is burnout as opposed to many of these health conditions. So in this video, I'm going to mention some of the signs I experienced that I now know in retrospect were actually signs of chronic burnout. The first sign I can think of is health issues. Now, everybody experiences health issues, but if you are in burnout, you are going to be experiencing certain kinds of health issues. I'm talking about autoimmune conditions that come out of nowhere. I'm talking about allergies that seem to get worse over time. For me, it was actually symptoms of allergies. And I'm talking about becoming allergic to things that you were not allergic to before. No matter how much you take medication, the medication doesn't seem to help much. So now you're on anti-allergy medication for a protracted period, and it seems like the symptoms aren't even lessening. I'm talking about skin issues where your skin is just all over the place, and no matter what you use, it doesn't seem to be working for it. Or the medication helps for a while, and then you stop the medication, and those things come back after some time. I had runny nose for a long time. I started sneezing. I started coughing for a long time. The cough became productive. I used to go to the clinic all the time. I would get medication. I would get all sorts of antibiotics. I would get antihistamines. I would get all of that. I'm now being on antibiotics and on antihistamines for over 2 months at the time, and it just wasn't going anywhere. It was as if I was not doing anything. It was as if I wasn't taking anything. I was still coughing. I was still having all that experience. I also had skin issues. My skin was moving mad at the time. I'll just tell you right now. My skin was moving mad. And no matter the advice I was getting, people give you all sorts of advice. Oh, do this, use that, use this, use that. People will say all sorts of comments and all of that. This is one of those reasons why you cannot look at people and see what they're experiencing. First of all, it's even an irritating thing. It's an evil thing to look at somebody and see something that is a health condition or something, some sort of flaw that they have on their body, and then use that to insult them or mock them. It's an evil thing, and that's a disgusting thing. And if you do it, you should stop. But then people make a lot of comments, and they say, "Oh, this, that, or the other," and there's just a lot of rhetoric surrounding that, especially when it has to do with skin conditions. And lots of people actually have health issues that lead them to have pimples or acne or any other health skin condition that you do not know, and you just think, oh, it's because this person is dirty, it's because this person doesn't use the proper skincare regimen, it's because this person doesn't do this, doesn't do that, they should do this, they should do that, they don't listen, they don't do that. Yeah, because when it has worked for you and it has worked for some other people that simply because it was just a matter of being clean or using a specific skincare regimen, doesn't mean the truth doesn't apply to other people. Some other people actually have serious health conditions that you don't know anything about. So you really cannot judge people. Anyway, that's by the way. So health conditions, and to these health conditions, I'm also going to add digestive health issues. Some people have, all sorts of digestive health issues that come up, and that, that may stop, they may go away, but then they'll flare up after some time. They'll go away, then they'll flare up after some time with no obvious pattern or logic to them. And you were okay with eating this food before, all of a sudden you're not okay with eating it anymore because it's causing you severe pain, and it's causing you to bloat, and it's causing you diarrhea, and etc etc. Second sign you may be experiencing burnout as a neurodivergent person is anger. I'm talking about not just anger but rage. And different people express this anger in different ways. Okay, some people might actually be explosive and directed outwards, and you'll see them throwing things. You'll see them, screaming at people, saying horrible things to people, and things that you would refer to as verbal abuse. They can be very abusive to people around them. I'm talking about even their family members, like children, like spouses, like even parents. like people around them, like they just get very explosive. And many times because we're used to masking and being on our best behaviors outside, then in most cases, it's the people at home that actually bear the brunt of these explosions. Or you may be the kind of person who internalizes it and don't hold it in, but you know that you actually feel that anger deep down, and you know you actually feel that rage. I remember I used to experience this a lot. Somebody would say a simple sentence or a simple phrase, and it would just push me into the state of rage. And when I think about it now, and I'm no longer in burnout, in that kind of chronic state of burnout. People can say it to me all day long. It wouldn't bother me. It would not bother me. It would not move me at all because I've moved past that state. But when I was in that state, it's that same phrase, that same sentence, that same word easily pushed me into a state of rage. Okay. So that's another sign. It's that you could easily get triggered by anything and it would push you into extreme anger, into extreme rage. This second point leads me to my third point, which is that you could have bursts of emotions, like emotional reactions, like emotional outbursts that don't make any sense and that you cannot regulate and that you cannot seem to control in the moment. It could be anything. It could be you could just become very sad all of a sudden. You could have severe mood swings where you're happy this moment, you're sad tomorrow. You could be like in my own case, I remember sometimes I would just be walking along, I could be walking along with my friends, and all of a sudden I would just feel this emotion wash over me, like a sort of deep state of sadness, and I would not be able to get out of it. Sometimes I would be sitting down, maybe having lunch or having drinks with my friends or something, and I would just begin to cry. Like I would legit begin to cry, and I would not know why, and I would not be able to stop the crying, and it would even scare me more because I did not know what was happening to me. It was one of the scarier parts of dealing with burnout. Okay, so you could have some of those emotional outbursts as well that might be difficult for you to understand and that might be difficult for you to regulate or to control in the moment. The final point I'm going to mention is a deep sense of shame. You will feel a deep sense of shame always, but you may not be able to point. Like if somebody were to ask you, why do you feel so ashamed, if you were to actually verbalize it, why do you feel so ashamed? You may not be able to point to something and say, oh, I did this, therefore I feel ashamed. I stole, I did this, I did that. We have this shame that we just seem to live with all the time. And for a lot of people, express this feeling of shame in one of two ways generally, and that is that they might end up having a lot of low self-esteem, and that's an expression of that shame. You're internalizing. For some other people, they can externalize, they become very arrogant. So you might meet a lot of autistic people, especially, who seem to be quite arrogant, and you might not understand why that's happening. It's the shame that is leading to the arrogance. So if you're one of those people, you might actually be an arrogant person. You might actually be somebody with low self-esteem, or you might even have a combination of both. I believe I had a kind of combination of both. I leaned more towards the low self-esteem part, but I did have some arrogance in certain ways. And I'm so grateful that it's not difficult for me to mention like that, because I know there was a time when it would have been extremely difficult, if not impossible, for me to just simply admit that and say, oh, I had some arrogance. I was also dealing with low self-esteem. All right. So I'm actually grateful for that. But yeah, those are some of the ways that people actually deal with it. These are some of the signs that I personally even experienced when I was in burnout, and I didn't know that was what I was experiencing at the time. I hope if you're experiencing some of these things, you do not feel alone. Don't feel alone. There are other people who have experienced what you're experiencing, who have come out on the other side. There are people who are still experiencing what you're experiencing, who will come out on the other side. And just know that, just like that, you will come out on the other side. Just hang in there. Don't make any rash decisions. Don't make any, drastic changes to your life. Don't make any drastic moves. Don't make any permanent moves. Just hang in there, basically. Work on helping yourself, work on taking care of yourself better, work on making certain adjustments to your lifestyle, to the way you've decided to live your life, to maybe the people you move with, maybe some your diet, maybe the things you're exposed to. Make a few adjustments here and there. Learn more about yourself, learn more about neurodivergence, get help if it's available to, if it's possible to you, talk to somebody, and you will get better and you will be able to manage your situation. You will come out of that burnout if it's burnout that you are experiencing.